Hey legends, welcome to the Pot Noodle and Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared, and joining me tonight is Liam. How you going, Liam?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm. There was some good football over the weekend to talk about.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting pod tonight. So, yeah, we're going to be joined by Ian a bit later on when his internet's working. So keep an eye out for him joining the mix. But yeah, we've got called tonight's pod the Four Ps. I wonder what that stands for, Liam. Let's see if you can figure it out.
Four P's. Hmm. No, I'm sorry. I'll need to let you tell me that one.
Protests, penalty, and plastic pitch. Pretty much sums
All
up
right.
everything that happened down in Killie, down at Rugby Park. So I thought I'll get a little creative today. Had plenty of thinking time because I spent 4 and a bit hours in the car today, so I'm a little bit a little bit all over the joint. So
So it's nothing
yeah,
to do with the putrid pricks that would have been at Ibrox after Bonnie Blue's visit. No?
we'll get to that later on in the show when we're in the safe zone, Liam. Like
Sorry.
we'll wait till we're there. But yeah, Ian's here now, so we'll get him into the show. And how you going, Ian? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good, mate.
Jeez, I feel like what day is it? Is it Axom and Tuesday or what?
I know, yeah.
I feel like I'm the pretender.
Oh, no.
Good fun. Yeah, we are just saying, Ian, like tonight's pod, we're going to talk about the game. Talk about fan protest stuff. We'll talk about how our new signings are fitted in, and then we'll have a bit of a laugh at the Huns to finish off the pod. So, yeah, we'll get into the Celtic Killie game. So Celtic 2, Killie 1. Starting lineup was Schmeichel, Donovan, Carter Vickers, Scales, and Srirachi. McGregor, Hatate, and Nigren in the middle, and then up front was Dazen, Tanekti, and Balakwisha. What were your thoughts when you saw that lineup, Ian?
It was kind of almost. I kind of predicted the lineup. You asked me to predict the lineup last week, and it was similar. I thought obviously I forgot about KT sort of not being the best on the plastic pitch. So um, yeah, it was a similar lineup to what I thought. It was good. It was kind of, I suppose, the best we could have hoped for. Obviously, the midfield. There's obviously debate about what's the strongest lineup in midfield. I think there's an argument to be said for maybe Hitati having a bit of a rest. He just looks a bit tired as well at times, so I think we can maybe rotate that a little bit. I think Negren's been a little bit off it. But all in all, yeah, I thought it was kind of maybe the strongest lineup we could have hoped for at that particular moment. Obviously, as the game went on, that sort of told a different story.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll go into what I'll do when we do the game reviews. I have a player focus thing, so you can deep dive into any actual player you want a little bit later on. So you mentioned Hatate, so I'm sure you'll jump on him a bit there. But Liam, what was your thoughts when you saw the lineup?
No, I mean, it was pretty much as I kind of expected it. I think that midfield was the strongest one you could go with at the moment. Chinekti, I think, was in line for his debut. I wasn't sure if he was going to be on the right or the left, and same goes for Balakwisha because we know that they're both strongest on the right, but one of them was going to have to play on the left. So yeah, it was pretty much along lines of what I thought might happen. It'll be interesting once Ian Acho is fully fit. Is he going to be through the middle and Dyson out left, or is Dyson going to continue to be starting through the middle? That's the question.
It's a bit of an interesting one, Liam, because as you said, we've got Dyson. If he doesn't play as striker, if Iheanacho starts, then Dyson goes to the left. But then you have a look at our other wing options, and realistically, you've got Dyson on the left, you've got Balakwisha on the left, you've got Tanekti on the left, and then you also have Jota when he comes back in the new year, who are all naturally left wingers. A couple of them are going to have to jump over on the right, like we saw in this game. But yeah, I'm going to have to rely on you boys about the actual game because yeah, for me, I had to have an early night last night. I had to be up with the birds this morning to. As I said, I was in the car for 4 hours today. I had to go to my grandmother's funeral today, so not ideal. But yeah, bit of a shit
Sorry to
situation.
hear that.
Yeah, she was 94. She had a good innings. So yeah, but we'll just chat about it and everything about the game. But I'm going to be relying on you guys. So who wants to jump in and give a general chat about the first half and everything else?
I can start. So yeah, I watched the whole game, and granted, I was at a jazz festival last night, so I had a couple of drinks by the time I watched the game. So I think I was a wee bit more patient for the the lackluster display than a lot of people would have been. I'd been mellowed out a wee bit by the music and the assorted accompaniments. But it was it's a horrible surface. It's a horrible place to go at the best of times. Um, it was weirdly quiet for that first 12 minutes as we expected. Um, and Celtic TV, their videographer deserves an Oscar for the amount of. Somehow they managed to go without showing any shot of the Celtic end for the first 20 minutes of the game. Don't quite know how they did that. No, not a great game, particularly first half. Second half it got better, but I thought throughout I was really impressed with our new boy Tunekti. He looks a player. He looks the business. I think we've got a good one there.
What do you reckon, Ian?
Yeah, I think Tuneki, he was sort of the bright spark, and Liam, it wasn't just the fact that he was a kind of a throwback of a winger. I said it in the group chat, in the Axon group chat, which you're both part of. He looks like a Celtic winger. That's sort of the highest compliment I can give him, really. And by a Celtic winger, I think we're over. Well, I'm older than you guys, but of a certain vintage where we had wing play was part of our DNA. Wingers that could go past a man, get people off the seat, and he looks like that type of player, very much in that mould. But also his energy. It was almost. Do you remember that game, the game against St Mirren, when James Forrest came on?
Aye.
And I said on Axum, I think it was, that it looked like James had gone rogue because he was running at a different speed to everybody else. It looked quite pedestrian, and he came on, and despite the fact that he's probably the second or third oldest on the pitch, he brought that energy, and he was running fast. He was running hard. So Tuneki was bringing all that, So hopefully that kind of, especially with Barakwisha, he's raising the bar and he's setting the standard. And I said yesterday, I hope that Barakwisha's cousin is not George Weah, because that was kind of the performance that he was sort of chucking out. And I know it's only early days, and he's a left winger, so he was technically out of position. But we expect more from any player that wears the shirt. I thought that the left back did really well. He sort of was a very accomplished performance. KT coming on, I love KT. I think he needs a few more games under his belt. Obviously that pitch is horrendous. It's just not a very nice surface, and the quicker it goes, the better. But again, I was just wishing. I keep saying it all the time. I know you boys have sort of echoed it as well. Vary the tactics. Change the tactics. We're so any team that plays against us, they only have to rehearse or practice one way of playing against us. They know we won't change or vary how we approach things, And when it was 1-1, it was crying out to get two up top, and cause a bit of disturbance in the box, cause a bit of chaos. But so I think with Iannucci, he looks like he could be a decent player. But this one guy up front, it just seems a bit tired and a bit stale. I think the players need a bit of a fresh approach. I think it might reinvigorate Brendan as well. I'm not trying to tell Brendan how to do his job. I'm sure we'll talk about this later in the pod, but I'm a bona fide lover of Brendan Rodgers. I kind of hang off his every word almost. I think he's brilliant. But that press conference on Friday, fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. The thing with we'll just jump onto the new boys since you brought them up there, Ian, because that was something that I wanted to ask was, how do you think they fitted in? Like you've said that there. For me, the thing with Tunekti, I've seen the highlights. That's all I've seen, right? But as you said, he looks like a Celtic winger. He looks like the sort who will take a man on, and that's the biggest thing for me. He's not afraid to go take someone on the outside, but he'll also come on the go inside and everything like that. So yeah, it's I think he was one where I was like, huh, okay, have we overpaid for him? And after seeing the highlights alone, I'm like, okay, there's something here. Definitely want to watch this space because, as you usually would say, you give a players at least 10 games before to let them settle in before you judge them. That's what you try to do anyway. Balikwisha, on the other hand, is the one who came in with the bigger rap, the bigger reputation, and yeah, he's fun to deceive so far. It's like not quite at that level what I thought we'd be having, but got to give him a few more games in my opinion. But yeah, the one I've really been impressed with is Srirachi. Both times I've seen him in the pitch, like he's not going to be overawed by it because he's played for some big clubs. He's played both sides of Boca and River Plate down in Argentina. He's played at Leipzig. He's played at over in Turkey. He's played in big environments, so it's not going to be a massive issue for him. But yeah, I'm liking the look of those three settling in. But on the flip side of that, Yamada, Inamura, and Simpson Pusey, where are they? They weren't even in the matchday squad. So I'm going to throw to you, Liam, because I mentioned the two Japanese boys, their recent signings. Like, what's your thoughts on how the new boys are all settling in?
Well, I think Simpson Pusey has upset the manager somehow. There's the rumour that he refused to play in a B-team game in order to get his fitness up. And if that's true, then I fully agree with Brendan Rodgers freezing him out. We don't need that kind of attitude in the team right now. But with regards to Japanese boys, I think that is, and I'm with Ian on this. I think Brendan Rodgers is a superb manager. I love the guy, but I think there's a bit of a, how do I say, he's got a bit of a blind spot there. He's got it in his head, I didn't sign these two players, I didn't want these two players, so I'm not including them. Despite the fact that both Inamura and Shin have shown promise when they have played. Inamura especially, I think. We know about the vulnerabilities of KT, and I think Inamura in particular has shown that he's good enough to step in, certainly at the Scottish League level, and do a job. Shin, jury's still out, but I saw enough of him last year over here to know that he's up to it, if given the chance.
Can I jump on something here? Because I just want to bring it up, and it's got nothing. I'm not casting any aspersions or anything Brendan's way, but look at his track record over the last few years at Celtic. Kyogo, massively out of form under Brendan, right? Struggled. Hatade's been in and out of form, hit and miss here and there. Maeda's gone to her best levels, right, under Brendan, so I can understand that and appreciate that. But all the other Japanese boys that we had, and even the Korean boys, Yang, Oh, and so on, then you look at Owada's been sold, all that sort of stuff. They don't really seem to fit the way Brendan wants to play, the guys from over in Asia. That's just a general thing here, but when you've got a sample size of 8 players and only really 1.5 of them is regularly contributing, like the half's Rio. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. But the other guys, the other one's Maeda. Do Asian type players suit the way Brendan wants to play? Because it doesn't look that way.
No, it's an interesting point, and I think that it's because Brendan favours a kind of slow build-up. This passing back inside and moving the ball around, keeping possession and whatever. Whereas if you watch most J-League games, it's like, okay, we've got the ball, attack, let's get a goal. Let's get forward.
I love it.
Aye. I mean, it's not exactly the level of the Champions League or whatever, but the J-League is always a good watch because both teams usually go for it. And I think maybe Brendan Rodgers has kind of taken a bit of that out of these players. I mean, we actually saw it in real time with Inamura, because his first game, like he came on against Cork, he was being really aggressive, bounding down that wing, almost playing like a winger. And yet, by the time he got to Portugal, it was like, stop, pass it back inside, move it around. He's playing much more like a Rodgers type fullback. And I was actually really sad to see that. I thought he's just taken the the creative flair of that boy and just drained it right out of him, you know.
What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, you can see it. You can see it right, going right back to sort of when Kyogo was in the team. Um, the fact that he plays on that shoulder, and he was looking to get released so often, and either the defense could have played it straight into him many a time, or the midfield, and they held for that second or two too long, and the opportunity was gone. So I think that's why his goals dropped off. And I think the same with Shin. You know, he's got that. He's dynamic. He's as fast as Maeda apparently. But Maeda,
Yes.
if Maeda's going to play up front, you're actually nullifying one of his best qualities, which is his speed. You know, so it's that kind of languid pass to the side, pass to the back. You know, and it's got to be said, Kilmarnock is slowing a lot of stuff down at the moment. I love Kilmarnock, but he is. I think I don't know if it's been coached out of again, but Kilmarnock is not a number 6. He was a creative midfielder and a fine creative midfielder. You know, when Scott Brown was in the team, he was the fulcrum of a lot of good that went sort of for Celtic. So he's adapted his game to sort of to I suppose admirably plug that gap. Whether that means that we've not really gone all out to try and get someone to actually a natural number 6 to fill that position, and then Kilmarnock could push further up. I think that we could still do that. I think swap Engels and Kilmarnock would be a bad thing, but the two centre halves are still labouring on the ball, and it's like just get the ball forward quickly. And I keep going back to that thing with Ange, the footage of Ange Postecoglou on the sideline saying, "Stop fucking passing it backwards." You know, that's the mantra that we should adopt. Any football team should adopt. And Liam, you know, I don't watch any of the J League actually. I'll have to watch it, but that's what football's about, isn't it? Get the ball forward quickly and score goals. Get fans excited and get them involved in the game. I think you just know it's going to be. And fair enough, it was like the Pep Guardiola route was always kind of like slow, and then punch. So there'd be an end result. So they'd go quick. You know, they had obviously Iniesta and Xavi and all that, and Messi. And so they had the players that could do that, like sort of pinball.
Slow it down to speed it up.
Yeah, but we don't do that. We slow down. And yesterday when he came on, he looked like he was wanting the ball quickly. And again, it was one pass too many, or one touch too many, or two touches too many. And we were getting in each other's way at times as well. That movement wasn't there. Especially in the box, Nigren, he could have, it was like that shot that he had that he missed. Great work by Tuneki to get into position, but Nigren, it was I think it was him and Hatate that were virtually on top of each other in the first half. So it just looks a bit loose and a bit disjointed. I keep saying it, but let's try and mix up this formation a little bit and get with Celtic. Why can't we have two up front? I think it's essential that we try and start looking at it, and especially the fact that the transfer window is shut, we can't go and sign any more players. Let's just, let's try and create a bit of variance.
When was the last time we played two up front? Was it under Lenny when we had Edouard and Griffiths together up front, was it?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's in the 10 in a row season. That's how far back it was. So, and then before that, it was Stokes and Hooper together, absolutely flying. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a while. I've got no problem with that. But, yeah, if we just quickly jump back to the game, like, I know we've spoken a bunch about individual players, the goals there. So, Maeda's goal, nice header, Watson's header, the penalty, which Henacho scored. I can never get his name right. I was calling Killie most of the time, but how he scored it.
Kells. That's what Brendan calls him, isn't it? Kells.
Yeah, fair penalty, but like the way he took it. But at the same time, that's the sort of penalty where if that was in a Huns game and it went their way, we'd all be blowing up on the blogs and on these things going, "Oh, it's just cheat and beating at it again." I don't think it was a penalty, to be honest with you. I honestly do not think it was a penalty. I'll take it, take the 3 points, bank them, and get on with it. What do you think, Liam?
But Sean gave a really good explanation of why it wasn't a penalty on the post-match last night on Axel. And obviously he has his refereeing background, so he basically said that, like, if it hits one of your teammates before it hits your hands, unless it ends in a goal, it's not a penalty. Now, that's the technical interpretation of the rules. I think you could argue that ball was heading into the goal had it not hit the boy's hands. So maybe that's the basis on which the referee gives the penalty. But you know what? I don't really care.
If that's the basis,
I hope it wasn't a penalty, because that just makes it even funnier.
if that's the basis, though, Liam, if that's the basis of what he's given it for, that'd be the old double jeopardy. You know, when you used to be on the goal line and you'd handball, it'd be a straight red card and a penalty. So then you try and, take the penalty, save it, and then you didn't concede the goal. But they stopped that double jeopardy thing because a penalty's punishment enough. So it must have been that situation then.
I don't know. Like I say, I heard last night what sounded like a good explanation as to why it wasn't a penalty. My instinct at the time was it was a penalty. I don't really care either way, because we won the game, and I heard that faint cracking sound. It was 1,000 Hun tellies going out windows,
Ian, what do you think? Penalty or no penalty?
It's one of those. Liam, someone told me that I've never heard of it before, but someone told me there's a book or a famous story, Japanese story, where the scenario is the murder takes place in the woods, and 3 people witness it, and it's the accounts of. Have you heard of it?
Aye, yes.
Aye. So it's quite a famous story. So the reason I'm saying that is it's like, human nature and human, we could all witness the same thing and all have a different, view on it. Interesting, I suppose ironic that was beaten that actually favoured us, when so often it's gone the other way. Whether that's got something to do with the fact that Brendan called him out, so he's on his best behaviour. I think it was harsh on the opposing team, on Killie. But over the course of a season, we're going to get stuff going against us. They're going to get stuff going for them, and vice versa. So I think it's kind of that law of averages. VAR's supposed to eradicate that. It still doesn't seem to be the case. But I suppose the argument I'd have if I was a Killie fan is consistency. Kettlewell was coming out and saying that there was a directive, and his staff were saying, don't worry about it. It's going by the new rules. It's not a penalty, and then obviously it was given as a penalty. So I can see their argument, but we've had loads of stuff go against us, so it's about time that some things go for us. And I think all in all, apart from that spell of pressure towards the end of the game from Killie, we controlled the game pretty much, and I think it's 2-1 was a fair result. I think with my Celtic tinted spectacles on.
Let's be honest though, do any of us have any sympathy for Kilmarnock?
Oh no.
I mean, really?
The SG Huns, no problem at all. So, we'll just go on. I'm going to bring up some comments now, and then I'll throw to you boys. So let us know who your man of the match was in the comments, and then we'll get into a few other things. But Pete McGee saying, not the greatest ever game, but a massive 3 points for Brendan Rodgers and the team.
Yeah.
Square Sausage Mick is a horrible watch, but those types of games win your leagues.
Exactly.
And then Pete's followed up saying, terrible weather, terrible pitch, terrible opposition. We got 3 points despite all that. Brilliant. On to the next one. So, it's good. So it's kind of funny here. Smell the Glove saying the Diets are now officially the second favourites for the league. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting what happens to them over the next few weeks, though, because we don't play them for another, I think, 4 or 5 games. And so, if they can keep winning, and we keep winning, that's going to be one hell of a trip to Tynecastle at the end of October.
There's a comment from Roscoe as well saying, let's be honest, 3 points, utter pitch performance, connect to your side, and still lots of concerns over the slow play. 3 passes made when 1 is enough. A whole host of players who are off form. I think that sums up
agree.
what he was saying. But and then Roscoe's also said,
is that a confidence thing? You think when you labour on the ball, it's like crisp, quick passing, and that's I suppose when your tail's up, that comes with confidence. I wonder if it's a lack of confidence. So players are sort of not backing themselves, because it's for you to make those quick passes like Tuneki was trying it, where he was doing those give and goes. That's one touch football. You've got to have your teammates running off the ball and they're working off the ball in order for that to be successful. So they don't look a bit disjointed, as I said before.
The frustrating thing on that is just think, what would Tunekti have done if he'd have been playing against Kyra and against the Huns? Yeah. I think that, just that bit of flair was what was missing from both of those games.
Yep. He was a real spark of energy as well as technically excellent play.
Yeah.
We've got a comment here saying it's a manager thing. And that's actually what I was thinking with what you were talking about. If you've got Ange saying, play it forward, and he doesn't care if you lose it because you're going to press hard and win it back straight away, the players are more likely to play and be aggressive like that. But if you've got someone like Brendan who's risk averse, get the ball, if you don't have a clear pass through, pass it back to your centre backs and across the back there, the players aren't going to want to make those things there. So, bit of an interesting one.
What you see as well, sorry to interrupt me, what you're seeing as well is most opposing teams are just happy for their centre half to have the ball.
Exactly.
Play it across the floor. That's it. They know what we're going to do, and I don't think any of them are sort of technically good enough, any of their centre halves, to play like Beckenbauer type balls, to break through the lines, to use modern vernacular.
So we've got a hot take here from Pete McGee. Donovan is better than Ralston. There, I've said it. What do you think, boys?
I agree. From what I've seen,
Donovan certainly showed more yesterday to... Right, you know how when I say that when you come into the Celtic team and you're not a regular, you don't just have to play well, you have to impress to show why you should be there ahead of who normally plays. Ralston's been fine whenever he's played, but I thought Donovan impressed yesterday. I think that's the difference. It was a guy clearly looking to show what he could do, and I liked what I saw.
I'm going to jump on this comment from Lubo McNamara. Liked where Donovan needs to bulk up like Murray did, but there's a player there, I reckon.
Me too.
I think I look at him and go, he's given me Tierney first season in the first team vibes. You know how after year 2, year 3, he got a bit bigger and more and stronger and has filled out a bit more. That's what Donovan needs to do over the next couple of years as well. But yeah, definitely is a player there.
He's got the prime example to sort of show him as well. And young players like that, you want to be talking to Kilmarnock all the time, talking to KT. How do I get to where you got to, and where get to where you are? These are the margins that make or define. But I think for Ralston, I think he's probably done that, but he's limited in terms of his ability, and I say that with respect. He plays for Celtic, so he's done remarkably well. But I think there's a reason why he's been at the top for so long and not had that many games really. I think he's probably hit his ceiling really in terms of. I think he's maximised. So I think his attitude is first class, but I just don't think his talent really matches. Where I think with Donovan, he's got a much higher ceiling, and so as long as he screws it up and applies himself, I think we found our new fullback.
I like the Bricky. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great clubman. The thing with him is, I think he's one of those players that works well in a team where the team is made up of the sum of all the parts. Like we've got a good structure, good solid centre backs, good defence, and he can just come in and focus on just doing his job, and that's it. And if he comes into the team, give 100% effort on everything, right? Which is what he does for us. But when he went out on loan to, I think it was St Johnson and that, where it was a weaker setup, the structure wasn't there, he got exposed. So I think he suits playing for a club like Celtic where he doesn't have to do as much. And if he was to go elsewhere, he could quickly drop down the leagues. Bit of a weird take there, but anyway.
Plenty of players have done that. It depends on your ambition. Like if you're at Celtic, look at Welsh as well, Stephen Welsh. another example. If you're a keen young Turk, sometimes you've got to go backwards to go forwards. And plenty of players have done it. They've gone away. Look at Charlie Mulgrew,
It's
prime
exactly what I
example.
was going to say.
Yeah, and it's like, so he had that determination, and I think he was a bit of a daft lad at times when he gets sent away to Aberdeen and then to Wolves and stuff. But he found his way back to Celtic. But some players, they find their way either back to where they started, or they go into sort of higher echelons. So look at Robertson at Liverpool, another fine example.
And the opposite side of that's Tony Watt.
Yeah.
Just bouncing around as a journeyman. So, yeah, there we go. So, said for your man of the match for the game, who would that be?
Me, how do you pronounce his name?
Tanuki.
Yeah. Head and shoulders Tanuki.
McLaughlin said in the comments, Scales is going to get Player of the Year this season, I reckon.
I hope he does. Well, I say I hope he does. He deserves all the accolades. He's seen it. He's seen it all comers off, hasn't he?
Yeah, we've got things like I can actually see the improvement in him, and Smell the Glove saying he's probably our main defender now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a interesting one. But, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting thing. We'll see how that all plays out. But, yeah, I think we've got a few other things to talk about. Pete McGee's got one here for you, Ian. Tanuki.
It's easy for you to say, Pete.
So, yeah, basically, I've got a couple of things we want to talk about, but do we want to laugh first, or do we want to get into Brendan's presser? What are you feeling, boys?
I would say let's do the presser first, because I think there's scope for a couple of laughs in there as well, actually.
Fair enough. So, Liam, give us a rundown on the presser.
Right, so Brendan Rodgers came out swinging, called out the cowardly act of the Celtic insider, who definitely isn't Peter Lawwell, that sold the story to the Sun. That person, who, again, I'll emphasise, is definitely not Peter Lawwell, was clearly totally out of order, and Rodgers was aware of it, and he was not surprised by it because he said it had happened before, during his first time and shortly after his first time. Oh, and who was Celtic's chief executive then? Can't remember. Anyway, but yes, that's been the theme of it. But also, he has been talking about. He's just been generally very honest about all the stuff that's been going on at the club the last couple of weeks. He gets where the fans are coming from. He's not towing the party line. He's saying what needs to be said, and yes, it was great to see, great to watch, and it was funny how Celtic spent about 3 hours thinking should we release this or not before they finally put it up on their YouTube channel.
The funniest thing of that, Liam, is that also I'm in this other group chat, and I'm seeing the questions that are getting asked from inside the room basically put into that chat. So I'm getting them basically as it's being asked and getting the overall rundown of what it is, right? And to then have that 3 hour gap, there's that many people in there who run different podcasts, blogs, all that sort of stuff that are just sitting around going, they can't edit this. They can't, can they?
No.
If they do, they're going to get absolutely slaughtered. And then 3 hours later, some ridiculous hour, they finally release it. I'm just like, yeah, they kind of had to. They couldn't play any games here. It's like they had to wait for Peter Lawwell to heat up his driveway, get in the car, drive down to the stadium, watch it, review it, and then be like, yeah, okay, fine, release it.
And definitely not call the Sun at any point when he's doing that, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. But it definitely wasn't Peter Lawwell.
No, of course not.
What a rag to choose as well. It's like, the low blow, the lowest of the low blows, and he chooses the lowest rag, to do it in.
Yeah. Who he's got form at doing that with again, yeah. So
I say whoever who shall remain nameless that should be resigning.
That's why the guy saying, of course it wasn't Peter Lawwell, of course not.
No, it definitely wasn't Peter Lawwell. I don't know who would suggest such a thing.
And then There you go. Pete McGee's asking you, Liam, asking for a friend. Could it be Lorwell?
It could be. All the evidence points to it being him, but it's definitely not him. We're sure of that, absolutely.
We can play, all these sorts of games, but I'll just say it. It's him. I don't give a shit. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
Just piss all over my act, Jared. Thanks very much.
No. I'm saying it. I get it. You guys can do all that. I'm just saying straight up. What's he gonna do? Ban me from press conferences? I'm in Australia. I'll just say
Well,
it.
the thing is, if it wasn't him, and he's kind of being accused of it, come out and deny it.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't him, then he should be the one investigating who it was and sacking that person, because it's either him or it's gross incompetence on his part for him to allow that to happen while he's chairman.
Yeah.
Him and Nicholson.
Does he attain seniority over Nicholson, the chief exec?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye. So Nicholson is chief exec and Lowell is non-executive chairman. So he is ranked higher. It's like Dermot Desmond in the sense that he's above Nicholson, but technically he's not supposed to have any day-to-day interference in the operation. But we all know that's not true.
CEO is supposed to run it day to day, and then chairman's just a board patsy to get involved a bit more if they need to. Just speak on behalf of the board. I smell the gloves saying here, Lowell not at Rugby Park yesterday either. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Does the Sun have a Sunday edition? I don't know. I'm a completely unrelated question there. Yeah.
In the comments, let Liam know. But Ian's had enough. He's like, I don't want part of this. These guys are gut cutting a bit sick here. He's back. Thought you didn't want to hang out, Ian, while we were starting to throw slanderous allegations at Peter Lorwell.
It's my internet, sorry.
The Sunday Sport. There you go. So,
so we're going to talk about Rangers now.
Did you hear that Brian McClare story about the Sunday Sport when it first came out?
No, what was that?
Apparently, John Gregg had been hired because it was like this new. So he was like, he thought it was going to be like the Gazzetta dello Sport in Italy. Oh, this is new, Sunday Sport, it's a sports paper, blah blah blah. So John Gregg was hired as the sort of chief sports writer, and he asked Chalky to come in as I don't know, it was a guest writer or whatever. So he done an article in it, and he told his dad all about it. And he's like, "Oh, it's being launched this Sunday, Dad." Blah blah blah. And they said he got a phone call, and his dad was like going mental at him, and he's like, obviously it's memories out all over the place, And John Gregg resigned in protest and disgust because he didn't know about it as well.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So I think we've got that to talk about. But the as you mentioned about the laughing at the Huns, Liam, but we'll hold off a little bit, just a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit. Fan protest. Walking in at the 12th minute. Since I didn't see the game, I just want to quickly know, how did that go down from your point of view? I forgot to ask that early on.
Is that to me or Liam?
You go ahead and you tell.
I think I said it last week when we were talking. This is not done in anger. This is the fact that you know sometimes like when you have an argument with your other half or whatever, and they're calm, and the reason it's not like an argument, and you know it's serious, like because they're calm and it's measured. This is kind of akin to what this is. This is not reactionary. This is focused. It's not angry. It's not toxic. It's considered. It's unity together, and it's everyone's got their eye on the prize. We're focused. The fans that come together. It's amazing how they've done it so quickly, but it's reasoned, articulate dialogue internally amongst fan groups, and it's not going to go away this time. This could have been done last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. So the board are lucky they've kind of got away with it for so long. This is the first of many, I think, protests, and I think all of us would agree. Everyone who's protesting things would agree that the board would maybe manfully stand to the side, or stand down and say, "We got it wrong. We understand the error of our ways. Work with us to make it better and create." But it's not going to happen. So what we have to do now is try and force some kind of change in a positive way. We they're custodians, right? They're just passing through. The fans, us as fans, and for future generations and forevermore, that's the fabric of Glasgow Celtic Football Club. So that's the thing that the board should be worried about, and it's not going to go away. It's done in a calm, measured, a calm and measured approach, and it's going to continue until we get some kind of decisive action.
You made a lot of great points there, Ian. Sorry I was laughing at you when you said that, but I couldn't help myself. Come on. As if this board's going to show any sense of humility.
Well, they're not going to, are they? But what I'm saying is, hypothetically, if they did,
no.
Yeah, it's like the smart thing to do.
They're painting themselves into a corner, and the only way to do it, you can't just stay in the corner, is to say, right, guys, hands up, you've got us all ends up, That's what I suppose sensible people would do. But that's what people would do who actually cared. Because we're doing this because we care about Celtic. As fans, we invest in Celtic with tickets we buy, with merchandise and Celtic, all that stuff. We care about Celtic. I live in New Zealand. You live in Japan. Liam, you live in Australia. Getting up at crazy times in the day to watch games. That's commitment. And every fan that goes and pays anything or supports Celtic, it's commitment. So if the custodians echoed that in any small way, they would care, and they'd say, how do we get to where we need to be? But it's not. It's self-serving. It's self-serving, and it's fat cats just posturing.
Got some comments here. So Pete McGee said, anyone see the board members at Killie yesterday? They look like a hanging jury.
Yeah.
Smell the Glove is saying, my nephew was there yesterday. He said about 2/3 stayed in the concourse until 3:12.
Yeah.
And then you've got Smell the Glove also saying the board looked at the fans yesterday with utter disdain, especially that prick Brian Wilson.
I think that's a bit harsh. I mean, pricks are occasionally useful.
The only good Brian Wilson I'm aware of is the one who was in the Beach Boys. That's about it.
Yeah. Liam, I meant to say, actually, I watched it on Sky, the game yesterday. So you watched it on Celtic TV, I gather. Did they show the sack the board banner, or did they manage to artfully edit it out?
They didn't show it before kick-off, but during the game we saw it because they were using the Sky cameras. So,
right.
Basically, it's the same coverage as you would get, but the audio is coming for, I don't know, Jerry McCulloch and somebody else. So
a caravan somewhere.
Please don't. Yeah, but Liam, what was your take on the protest and everything, how it all went, and what you think the next step's going to be?
Yeah, I think it was very well done. I think that what we need to be prepared for now is the counter-offensive. I fully expect the board to try and put out a false narrative over the next few days that this was a tiny band of troublemakers. The majority of fans were there throughout the game, and true fans don't do this, whatever. They're going to try every dirty trick in the book, other than the one thing which, as Ian said, the one thing they should do, just come out and say, we're sorry, let's talk about it. Their main problem is that they have always considered themselves above us.
Yeah.
And they're not, because at the end of the day, we pay their wages. The fans pay their wages. Peter Lawwell has taken around £30 million out of Celtic through bonuses and payments and dividends and etc. since he started working for the club. So I think he has taken far more out of Celtic than he has put in. I don't care how good a businessman he is. And it's not just him. There's a whole shower of them in the boardroom that have done the same. Dermot Desmond's last investment in the squad, I believe, was 2005. That was the last time he put any of his own money into the club. So this is... Yeah, these protests are necessary. They're going to continue. They're going to escalate. And they have to. Because these obstinate pricks will not understand any other form of communication.
The key thing for me, Liam, is if we're going to be protesting and we're going to keep going because we have to, right? Yep. I don't see any other way. Like as Ian said, it's measured. It's not like we're just reacting. You've got too many different fan media and like groups and supporters clubs and general Celtic fans across the board, right? Whether they're season ticket holders or whatever, all with the same mindset, right? All wanting to do the same thing. So it's going to happen. We're all going to be measured. It needs to keep happening. But the thing is, as you said, they're going to come on that offensive. They're going to try and say, I've already seen someone today saying they're trying to say that it was a failure, that the protest was a failure, and that only half the fans who said they were going to do it did, and all this sort of stuff, and they're trying to downplay things.
Yeah.
Keep the fight going. That's all I have to say. You may things may not go your way all the time. That's life. But let's keep the protest going. Let's keep it structured, and let's keep building this and do it in a measured and professional way, because the board is not acting professional. If us as a fan base are switched on and we support the team but not the board, we're good. They can't get rid of all of us. They view us as customers, not as members or part of it. So let's just keep at it.
The thing is, even if we are customers, we're customers that are not being served a satisfactory product at the moment.
No.
That's the thing. Whether we are fans or customers, either way, you're talking about corporate failure.
Now, there's a comment here from Don. You're helping to kill the thing you claim to love. How? This is coming from a place of love. I'm not killing anything.
You love something, you want it to be the best it can be. And if that involves ripping out the current leadership, then so be it.
That's it. Get the rebs on. Smell the glove is saying we will always have happy clappers who won't protest, but the others need to keep it going. Exactly.
Yeah.
Did anyone see that interview on Axon with David Lowe?
Yes.
On Friday. So, I know David. He's a very eloquent speaker, and he loves Celtic to the core. And it's like he was right when he says, like, people of a certain age, like his age, he's a bit older than me, but the expectation was in Europe. We did well in Europe when he was a lad, when he was younger, but we're routinely, and the word he used is embarrassed, and we are routinely embarrassed. Last year we could hold our head up high. It was a new format. It was a springboard that Brendan was saying, come on, this is an open goal, yeah? You're chopping an open door, all the kind of the adages. Let's build upon this, but we didn't. We regressed. So then we were consequently 6 months later, we're embarrassed by let's be honest, a team of minnows. Was it the value of their squad 10 million compared to ours of about 150? So
we spent more on angles.
Yeah. So we've embarrassed more often than not in the qualifiers over the years. So to say that we're trying to besmirch or to damage or kill anything is ridiculous. I mean, what's the expectations? This is Celtic. We the first British team to win the European Cup. I kind of grew up in England and I kind of like take the piss a little bit at the English for every ex-footballer sort of a certain age starts the sentence with it in 1966, sorry. And it's like, how long ago was that? But we were only a year after, and we keep sort of harking on about it. It was the halcyon days, but we got to a few more cup finals, European Cup finals, semi-finals, quarter-finals. So we were kind of in and around it for a good 10-year period, and we were all right up to, I suppose, the early 80s. We had a European reputation, and of course that sort of died away. So, like the Ajaxes, like these teams of a bygone era, Celtic are part of that collective. The kit is iconic. We're an iconic team with a European pedigree, but this board have not cared about that. They've not invested in it. They've not seen Celtic as part of that group, and they've been allowed for us just to be cannon fodder and just to make up the numbers. And as fans, why should we accept that?
Exactly. I think that's the best spot for us to leave that topic right there. So we'll wrap the pot up a little bit by having a bit of a laugh at the Huns. So I think the first thing I need to say here, Liam, is WATP. We are 10th place. I think that's what that stands for at the moment, right? So that's their current version of that line there. I I got a few things to bring up on the screen here. But yeah, after seeing the results the way they did, we'll start with this tweet from inside the SPFL. Rangers last 15 games at Ibrox. Played 15, won 4, drew 4, lost 7. Yeah, it's not going well for old mate. This one from Ridvan Loyal. The face of a man who knows he has Brendan Rodgers running. keep that one in the back pocket.
Oh dear, they never learn. They just never ever learn.
There's this one that was put up on Blue Sky since Bonnie Blue was there. 1,000 in one day doesn't that eventually get a bit depressing? No, I actually quite enjoy misplaced pass. And then this is my favourite thing that I saw. Second Rangers are currently in 10th in the Premiership, but before they play their next league game against Livy on Sunday the 28th, Dundee play Livy at home next Saturday. Aberdeen play Dundee United and Motherwell, meaning Dundee beat Livy at Dens Park and Aberdeen get at least 3 points from the next 2 games. Rangers will go into the 6th game of the league season at the bottom of the table. Funny. Fun time to be alive.
It's hilarious that a porn star turns up and it's Lawrence Shankland that ends up pumping them, you know?
So, yeah, basically the one last one I wanted to bring up was, I just thought I'd share this with you guys. I think this was my search history on the weekend. Just popping up. Inject that into the veins, the Rangers rabble thing going on. But yeah, I think it's hilarious. Like, our board is not fit for purpose. Our club's not fit for purpose. I just have to laugh at them.
It's like our board are doing everything to self-sabotage right now, and like Rangers have just said, "Hold my seppuku blade." I'm gonna upscale you on that. I'm gonna outperform you on this one. And every time we do something bad, they do something worse. It's this escalating sort of cascade of mediocrity.
What the?
That's the one I wanted.
Yeah.
The zombie thing. Come on, Ian. You know you want to jump in on this and just bad
Well,
him out.
I mean, I was going to look at the sort of, I suppose, the reverse of it a little bit, and like Schadenfreude, you know, we all do it. You know, they would do it against us. We do it with them, and you know, I've got a lot of mates who are blue noses, all decent, good guys, man, and and look, they love their team as much as we love our team, you know, and it's like it's the custodians that fuck them up. It's our custodians that fuck us up, you know, and it's like, so I do think though, maybe this our process has come at a timely moment, really, because hopefully we'll get a house in order, because they're new investors. They're going to want to see a return, and they're not in it. They're no mugs, I wouldn't have thought. And that access, they're going to want that access, and that kind of access to the money that comes in Europe. So I think this season is maybe a bedding in, but you know, that I think there'll be investment there. So we can't sort of lie down and sort of, you know, we can laugh at these moments, but I don't think it's going to be forever. And potentially we could get knocked off our perch if we don't keep our eye on the ball. So I know it's sort of joking aside. I'm not sort of trying to put a dampener on the laugh here, but we could have our pants pulled down, and it's like, you know, being asleep at the wheel and not being sort of attuned to it. You know, it could quickly bite us on the arse.
I get that.
Right, on that note, a wee question to the two of you then. Are Hearts our biggest threat for the league this season?
As it stands at the moment, I'd say probably. And again, Tony Bloom is, you know, he sees that opportunity to create a disturbance. Look, Aberdeen, you know, threatened to do it last season. So, you know, the thing is though, I was talking to my landlord is a guy who's part of Ferguson's team, the sort of the late 70s, the early 80s. Stuart Kennedy, and I was actually talking to him this morning, you know, and he was sort of saying, you know, about Hearts and Hibs, they'll never have a better chance to try and win the league. You know, with the investment they've got, you know, Bill Foley at Hibs. So if we keep continually sort of mismanaging ourselves, and if Rangers are and continue to stay in a mess, it could be one of the those two potentially that could take it right to the wire. You know, if Aberdeen didn't sort of capitulate the second half of last season, it could have been a similar story. So it's good for the game, but there's no way that Celtic, especially, should be not winning the league every season with the resources we've got. We should be continually looking to continually that continuous improvement, to, you know, that refreshment within internally and with the team. Backing a manager like Rodgers, you know, and giving him a 5-year, 10-year plan. I think Hearts have got a really good chance. I think McInnes is a bit of a he's canny. He knows the league. He knows how to play against Celtic and Rangers. It's whether he can sort of take care of the other sort of teams consistently, and I think it's all good and well. Like, it's bloody in the nose of the big two, but can you be consistent across the season? It remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say along those lines, Ian. Like, I look at it and go, at the moment, with Tony Bloom's investment, yep, 100%. He has good structures behind the scenes. The last teams that have been the consistent challengers are obviously the Huns, but before then was Aberdeen under McInnes. And then recently, we've struggled against Killie teams when McInnes was the manager. So him there, as you said, Ian, he knows how to set his teams up to frustrate us. I think they are pretty much the second best team in the league at the moment, and it's gonna be fun. And got some comments here. So Pete McGee is saying, yes, Liam, they look like our most serious challengers at the moment. And this is something I hadn't thought of. Smell the gloves, a good point, but Hearts not having Europe will help them until the new year. And that's another factor.
That's where I think it could get really interesting, because that Tony Bloom, as well as being a very shrewd businessman, he's also noted to have been a gambler, right? You know, he does his World Series of Poker, he's heavily into horse racing and whatever. And I think, see, if we get to January and Hearts are even within, say, 5 points of Celtic at the top of the league, he might say, right, you know what, see if I throw another 10, 15 million at this, we might win this league. And I could see him doing it, and I could see our board being, if there's no change by then, being as complacent as they've always been, and thought, the league's in the bag, we don't need to spend any money, Rangers are nowhere near us.
It's not even...
That's my worry, is that if Hearts get to January and there's still a chance, Bloom has got the balls to take a punt on it, whereas our board haven't.
It's not just that, Liam. Like, it's not just necessarily throw 10, 15 million pound at it or whatever. It's also the fact that you look at his other clubs. He's got Union St. Gilloise or whatever, USG in Belgium, that have quality players there. And he's got Brighton. They're going to have players that aren't actually playing regularly. So if he's looking at it going, they're only 5 or 6 points behind, who does he have that's not playing at either of those clubs that could come in and make a difference and help push Hearts over the edge? And I'm going to throw a name there that we've been linked with in the past, but an Evan Ferguson type who was at Brighton, I don't know if he still is, I can't remember.
He's at Roma.
Yeah, but that level of player who's not playing at Brighton, just sitting there looking for a loan move, and he could be thinking, if he went to Hearts for the rest of the season, before him to the league title, that's the thing that is more of a concern to me than him actually coming in and spending £10 million, because you've got that, what is it, the FSR rules or something. Hearts don't have the money to turn over to spend, but if it's a loan from one of his other clubs, that's his workaround that worries me.
Yeah. And he's smart enough to do that properly as well. That's the thing. He's got a much better overview of the whole process of building a winning team, and we've seen that with Brighton.
And he's done it in Belgium too. That team's in the Champions League regularly as well now, so he knows what he's doing. Yep. So anyway, I think we'll wrap the pod up there. We'll leave it there. So we'll go to our final thoughts for the show. So who wants to go first?
Ian, I'll let you take it.
Okay. I kind of just echo what I said again last week, that I hope Brendan. Well, after it was before the press conference, so he kind of answered what I was saying, that he's galvanised and he's ready to fight on, and he had that sort of glint in his eye. So I hope that's just sort of that sort of dirty win that gets us and kicks us on for the rest of the season, and we keep the unity and we keep going on and see positive change.
Yeah.
My final thought, not football related. Rest in peace, Ma. And over to you, Liam.
Right, I'm gonna actually read something that I found the other day when Celtic launched their Europa League ticket scheme. Just as a wee reminder for anybody on the board who might be listening of the current fan sentiment, it was like, buy your Europa League tickets now. And here are some of the responses. If I spend that money, I might end up like Rangers did in 2012. Can I get 2 months to make that decision, then try and get it for free the day after the deadline? You see, I'm worried about the financial regulations that I might fall afoul of, so it's hard for me to commit to buying these tickets at this time. The issue I have is, well, hang on a second, sorry, I lost my place there, sorry. The issue I have is it's not financially sustainable to purchase these tickets every season. And then the last one is just, Desmond, ram it. So, I think that sums up current fan sentiment pretty well.
Pretty much.
And using humour as well, which is all part of the game, innit?
Exactly.
We lose that, we're fucked.
Yep.
All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hit that like button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and the podcast. And yeah, we'll see you on Thursday for our next podcast. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
No help.